when you are working with a client, they may come to you through the launch process. And in that case, you may want to be working with them. And Stephanie mentioned that for Produce Your Podcast, that I do all of we reference them as discovery sessions, but just to be really clear, because the use of discovery sessions is thrown around in a lot of different ways in the business development world. So they are pre-launch strategy sessions. And what we do in those sessions is we cover how for us, because we focus on business growth, profit-driven podcasts, we will work with them on how to integrate their business model and their podcast and integrate those two together. We will build formats structured for creativity and also for design to increase their bottom line and their thought leadership, subject matter expertise. So we format the shows in ways that are going to broaden exposure and visibility for them, generate leads and sales, but also thinking through the sponsorship piece as well. And then we also talk to them about marketing, distribution, and monetization. That's how our discovery sessions work. And what we have found over the years is that with any industry, there are a lot of language things that we have internally that we know: audiograms, show descriptions, transcripts, show notes, video promos, shorts, reels. Like, it's a language that we all speak amongst each other and understand. But when someone is coming in, especially if they're coming in as a business owner, and maybe they're in the life sciences field, or maybe they're in the coaching and consulting world, or maybe they work for a technology company, they don't eat, breathe, and sleep the same language in terms of building out and launching and releasing and growing a podcast the way that we do. So we have found that it has been very helpful to provide visual elements and examples to our clients through the discovery process, so that when we're talking to them about our deliverables and the things that we're going to be doing and building for them, that they understand what it is they're actually receiving. It can be overwhelming when people are getting introduced to it as a first time. So what I have integrated, and I've honed and refined and changed this process over the last 9 years in multiple different ways. In all honesty, starting from just doing discovery on the phone pre-pandemic, before everybody was into Zoom, we would do all our discoveries over the phone. I personally love that because I'm much more creative when I'm not distracted by everything I just was distracted by that you saw in real time. And, but I also recognize that most people are visual learners and they really like to connect to screen shares and examples. So we went from phone to doing just Zoom with no slides or anything integrated, to where we are now in our 3 discovery sessions, pre-launch strategy sessions, are that we actually, after the first session is done without slides, because it's much deep dive, immersive conversation into ideal audience and business development tools and trajectories. But then starting with the second session and the third session, we actually bring PowerPoint type slides into the discovery session, so that we're bringing them along with the process. So when we build a format for a show, for example, we'll have it clocked out in a visual so that they can see it. If they listen to different podcasts and bring their observations to the call, we will have monitored those podcasts and bring our observations with some screen shares on there. So just connecting with them on that visual to lateralize that playing field so that you're speaking the same language is very, very important, and you're building that relationship. Because launching a podcast, even though as we're recording this in 2024, there are still clients, prospective clients, people who want to launch a podcast and they have no idea where to start. And our consult calls, even before they engage with our services, can honestly a lot of times be an exchange of information to help them even understand why they need to invest in full service agency support, or just support as a podcast manager, as an independent podcast manager, walking them through the process in a one-on-one relationship with them. There's so much they don't know that it's very helpful for you to feel extremely confident about these different assets, about these deliverables, and how to talk through them with people so that they feel comfortable and confident with you, and also with the idea that you are going to be able to support them and take a lot of the heavy lifting off their plate. So what the lookbook piece of it, we don't always necessarily go through this as I'm going to go through with you today. We don't always go through it in one batch because that could be, again, a little too overwhelming, but I always have it in my browser and have access to it. So if we're talking through show descriptions, I can pull it up, or if we're talking through audiograms and what that looks like, I can pull it up. We also extract parts of this launch book and put those into the slides that I was telling you about too.